Hello everyone. My research topic is International Students' Academic Adaptation in Chinese University, a case study of Shanxi Normal University. As we all know, the traditional student study abroad program has always served as an important part of the internationalization of higher education. For China, although it received its first group of international students in 1955, it is not until the opening up of China in early 1980s that the number of international students incredibly increased. In 1978, China only received slightly more than 1,000 students. However, the number exceeded 100,000 in 2004. From the latest statistics from the Ministry of Education, China received more than 300,000 international students in the year of 2012. With the growing number of international students, there is an increasing attention paid to those international students' adaptation in Chinese university. Usually, international students' adaptation can be divided into three categories. They are academic, such as problems with language, teaching styles. The second one is student social cultural adjustment, such as problems with climate, food, and social norms, as well as interpersonal relationships. The third one is personal issues, mostly linked with physical and psychological health and self-esteem. From the literature review, one can find that a large number of the studies are mainly focused on international students' adaptation in social, cultural, and personal issue aspects. Although it had been pointed out that the academic aspect is also very important. However, studies on student academic adaptation are still quite a few. Therefore, in my study, I want to study on a Chinese university's international student academic adaptation. The university I chose is Shanxi Normal University, which is a typical K-national public university, developing quickly in its international student recruitment. However, it should be noticed that most of the international students in Shanxi Normal University are Chinese language learning students. So this study will mainly focus on students who are pursuing Chinese language learning. Nevertheless, one also should note that international students majoring in Chinese language study accounted for the largest proportion of international students in China. With a good understanding of international students' academic adaptation, policymakers, university administrators, and teachers can make more clear efforts in improving the study conditions for overseas students. Consequently, the quality of international students' education will be improved and it would turn out to attract more international students. More significantly, it will contribute to the internationalization of Chinese higher education in the long run. In this study, Pascrala's college environment impact model and Tino's college retention model will be used. According to Pascrala's model, learning and cognitive development in college are seen as the direct and indirect influences of five major blocks of variables. Those variables are structural or organizational characteristics of institutions, student background, interaction with agents of socialization, institutional environment, and quality of student effort. By sorting out these five types of influential factors, one can assess university students' adaptation level and also can find out which part they are adapting well and which part adapting bad. The second model I integrated is Tino's college retention model. This model suggests that student background characteristics such as motivation, socio-economic status, and the learning environment of the university influence students' social integration and academic integration into their college life. which in turn also influences their overall satisfaction with university and ultimately their likelihood of either dropping out from their courses or achieving better results. Integrated with these two models, I developed this model. In this model, I mainly focus on four factors depending on Chinese university's context, which is student treat, interaction, institution environment, and students' efforts. I also listed several sub-factors under these four factors. For example, under student trait, there are motivation, achievement, personality, background. Under interaction, there are peer interaction and faculty interaction. For institutional environment, there are software, hardware, and out-of-class activity, student learning environment. Scrutinizing from the literature review, we can also see some former studies results relating to these four factors. For student trait, there are motivation and aptitude, time of studying Chinese, length stay in China, different identities. For example, undergraduate students' academic adaptation are worst among all the other types of international students. Gender. Female students have more language anxiety than male students. Nationality. East Asia and Southeast Asia students have more problems in academic adaptation compared to their North American and European international students, peer students. For institution environment, there are curriculum. In one study, it found that long-term students are more better adapted in their academic adaptation much better than short-term students. It maybe indicate that the textbook and the curriculums for short-term students should be slightly changed to meet with their needs, meet with their expectations. And teaching method, students often feel the teacher-centered classroom are unfriendly to them. And also supportive campus service, accessibility to data, cultural and intellectual activity engagement, and last but not least, the library. Students often found difficult in fully using the library resources. Some may because, sometimes maybe because there is lack of workshops or orientations for international students. Some are simply because of language barrier. For interaction, it not only including interactions with faculty members but also with administration staff. For peer interaction, both including interactions with other international students and Chinese students. Most of study found that there is little problems for international students have interaction with other international students. However, there are more difficult for them to interact with Chinese students. And last but not least, personal efforts. Dong and Chapman found that the student motivation is the single most important factor to international students' satisfaction of their study in Chinese university. It is also along with the former studies in a global perspective, which I also think this factor should be accounted into this study in a very important position. For data sources and data collection, questionnaires in quantitative research method, semi-structured interviews, and related online documents in quantitative research method will be used. Questionnaire. The sample frame for questionnaire will be international students who are currently studying in Shanxi Normal University, which also means the students are learning Chinese. And the sampling strategy is stratified random sampling. I put them into two big groups, which is degree study students and non-degree study students. For non-degree study students, there will be students from Fulbright program, Aliens for Global Education program, etc. And the questionnaire number will be 120. For interviews, the first type of interviews is the interviews for international students in Shanxi Normal University. And the sampling strategy will be convenience sampling and snowball sampling. Because I'm an undergraduate student majoring in teaching Chinese as a second language in Shanxi Normal University. So I still have friends who are still studying in Shanxi Normal University. I can find qualified international students through my friends, or I can find other qualified international students through my former teachers in Shanxi Normal University. Therefore, in the second stage, I can get to know more qualified interviewees through the interviewees I identified in the first stage by a snowball strategy, and the interview number will be 10. The second type of interview will be the interviews to faculty members and administration staff. And the sampling strategy will be purposive sampling. I will find faculty members and administration staff whose work are related to international students' education, and I will try to contact different interviews who can give me variable information to ensure the variations. And the interview number will be 5. The interviewees will be 2 full-time teachers, 2 part-time teachers, and 1 administration staff. For data analysis, the questionnaire will be used SPSS software to analysis. For interviewees, I will transcribe the interviews as soon as I finish it and coding them, and then different codes will be categorized. Afterwards, I will try to make connections between categorized codes, and documents will use the similar procedure of interview. And by conducting this research, I hope finally I can come a report of international student academic adaptation level in general in Shanxi Normal University, and also can finding out their problems of academic adaptation in specific, so that I can raise some practical suggestions to Shanxi Normal University so that they can improve their policy or services for international students who are studying in their university. Here is a bibliography, and thank you for listening. And please feel free to have comments or questions, and you can post on the forum. Thank you.